So, The Shawshank Redemption was released in 1994 based on a Stephen King novel, and not only was it written by Frank Darabont, but it was also directed by Frank Darabont in his directorial debut. In the film, we follow Andy Dufresne, who in the film is portrayed by Tim Robbins, who has been convicted of killing his wife and her lover despite his innocence, and he is sent to the Shawshank State Penitentiary. And over the course of 2 decades, not only does he befriend a fellow convict, Red, portrayed by Morgan Freeman, but he is also involved in a money laundering scheme, amongst other things. Before I continue on with today's video, I just wanted to say, welcome to my channel, everybody. For those of you who are coming by my channel for the very first time, be sure to hit the subscribe button to do that miss a feature video, it's a feature review, a reaction, a top 5, top 10, or whatever I have coming your way, and join me on my journey to 10K subscribers and beyond, because believe me when I say this, guys, you are not going to miss the cool stuff I have coming your way. And for those of you who are coming back to my channel, by the way, welcome back, everybody. You have no idea how happy I'm to see your faces once again. And let's also start our conversation below. What did you guys think of The Shawshank Redemption? Even more so, out of all the Best Picture winners and all the nominees, I should say, from that year, do you think that Forrest Gump was rightful in winning its Best Picture win? Or do you think that this film should have won? Do you think another film should have won? Let me know below. Alrighty, guys, so let's get into The Shawshank Redemption.
Excellent!
What a freaking movie this is, guys. I had really no intentions of reviewing this movie this week, as it wasn't until after I did my review of The SHAWSHANK when I got that video ready for you guys that I thought, you know what? I want to review Shawshank Redemption because, you know what? I want to talk about another Best Picture nominee, to which, that reminds me, guys. If you remember correctly, when I did my top 5 most controversial movie opinions, I think this was a couple of years ago, one of my controversial hot takes was that I did not think that, even though, and just to clarify to you guys right now, Forrest Gump, great movie. It's a terrific movie. I understand why that film has been classified as one of the greatest films of all time. Although for me personally, I personally do not think that film should have won Best Picture that year, as I do think that either Pulp Fiction or this film should have won. This movie doesn't come out of the gate and say it. This movie is, just to say the least, it is a beautiful piece of art. It blows my mind that this movie is a directorial debut. Frank Darabont did this film as a directorial debut, and it does not film like a directorial debut, especially knowing that this is a Stephen King adaptation. I freaking adore this movie, and I personally do believe that even though I have not read the book, just to get this out of the bat, I have not read, I think it's Rita Hayworth in The Shawshank Redemption, I have not read the book. As far as adaptations go, I truly do believe that this is one of the best book to film adaptations ever made. If you're coming to a video, this video in particular, expecting for me to do another film analysis or an analytical, a look back, a retro look back as to why this movie is one of the greatest films of all time, this is not going to be that video. What you're getting from this guy, from this video, is a gush fest as to why this movie is not only one of the best Stephen King adaptations, one of the best directorial debuts of all time, but why it is, at least for me, one of the greatest films of all time. So let's get into the reason why. I could easily go into every performance for minutes on end, but I'm going to concentrate primarily on 2 performances, and as y'all can imagine, Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman, who are both absolutely legendary in this film. There's no doubt about it. Morgan Freeman is one of the greatest actors of all time. You don't need me to tell you that. I mean, everybody knows that Mr. Freeman is one of the greatest actors out there. So trust me when I say this, guys. You don't need to hear me gush about his performance, but I will say this much. One of my favorite parts of this movie is the monologue that he gives when he finally gets approved to get out of this prison, and he's saying, you know what, call whatever you want to call it, I don't give a shit at this point. Like Morgan Freeman, is there anything I can say about Tim Robbins that hasn't already been said by every other reviewer out there that has covered this movie? One thing that I absolutely love about Tim Robbins in this movie is that throughout this film, you can clearly see that the cogs are turning in his head, because one of the things I love about his character journey in this movie is that slowly throughout the film, and we'll even realize it, he is planning his escape in simple and small ways, and even ways that not even Red can see happening. Something that I absolutely love about Tim Robbins' performance in this movie is that throughout this movie, in simple and subtle ways, he is holding on to the most powerful thing that he has to get out of this prison, and that is the power of hope, which I'll get into that aspect about the film later on. One of my favorite bits of Tim Robbins' performance is when Clancy Brown is about to toss him off that building. I love that scene so much. It is so freaking good. Something else that I gotta talk about, and this is the most obvious thing I can move on to, but Frank Darabont directed the crap out of this movie, and once again, it blows my mind that this was his first time as a filmmaker, his directorial debut, because man, Frank Darabont comes off like a seasoned veteran of directing in this movie. The way that Frank Darabont guides us along this journey of hopelessness, bleakness, in a movie that feels so claustrophobic, especially when it gets to those certain times, that even though there are those sequences that look beautiful within this penitentiary, but at the same time, while this journey is full of hardship, of hopelessness, bleakness, and despair, there's always one thing that keeps these characters going, and that is the feeling of hope of getting out of this penitentiary one day if they don't die with this penitentiary. I actually did not to this movie until I was in college, believe it or not. I think I was either in my second year of college. I saw this movie in 2014 because I think I was in my English class, if I remember correctly, and I had mentioned to my peers and I had mentioned to my teacher in college that I had not to this movie, and they said, wait a second, you're a film guy, you've never seen Shawshank Redemption? Okay, here's your homework. You're watching that movie tonight and giving us a review on it tomorrow. And you're damn right I did do that, by the way. Something that I gotta gush over is the stunning, and I mean the beautiful cinematography by Roger Deakins, who apparently criticizes his work in this movie. This is one of the most incredible looking prison dramas I have ever seen. Roger Deakins' work in this movie is legendary, and by the way, how did Roger Deakins not win for cinematography? I have to make sure, let me see what won cinematography that year. Let me double check. Okay, now to be fair, I have not seen Legends of the Fall. I've heard good things about it, but come on. You cannot tell me that that movie had superior cinematography over Roger Deakins' work in this movie. There are many sequences that I was watching in my most recent rewatch of Shawshank Redemption that I just kept on thinking, they do not make movies like this anymore. Oh my God. The way how the nighttime sequences are shot in the prison cells, not to mention as well the beautiful scenic shots of the exteriors of the penitentiary. I mean, Roger Deakins' work in this movie is just absolutely incredible, and especially, as y'all can imagine, that sequence where Andrew Frame breaks out of the prison and that one shot where the camera just goes like this and he just finally is free from the prison. That's one of the most iconic shots in film history, and once again, for myself here, how did he not win? And not to mention as well, to continue on with the technical aspects, the beautiful musical score by Thomas Newman. It is such a great musical score, and there's a certain bit that when I was rewatching this movie, yeah, the tears were coming down, man. It is a score that brings the main thing to this movie, accomplishes so well, and that is making you feel hope is such a powerful weapon in the times of bleakness, despair, in a time where you don't know what's going to be happening to you in this prison. His score in this movie is just the chef's kiss on this movie. Hope is such a beautiful weapon that can carry us on in our life when things don't seem like they're going our way, and not to mention it as well, that will carry us in darkness. I love that so freaking much, you guys have no idea.
Well, that's just fucking great!
Issues? Nah, Go on.
Here we go.
So overall, there are many words that can be used to describe the greatness and the excellence that's the Shawshank Redemption. But I'm going to use one word that to me describes this movie perfectly, and that is beautiful. The Shawshank Redemption is a beautiful piece of filmmaking and an incredible directorial debut by Frank Darabont. I love this movie so much, and The Shawshank Redemption is one of my favorite movies. All in all, I'm gonna give The Shawshank Redemption a 6 out of 5. I freaking adore this movie so much, guys. If you somehow have not seen The Shawshank Redemption, please, guys, watch this movie. It's an incredible film and it is a beautiful piece of filmmaking. I hope you all enjoyed my review of The Shawshank Redemption. If so, please hit the like button, or if you dislike this review, hit the dislike button. If you guys want to see my previous 2 videos, please click right there or right there. And of course, until my next review or video goes live, I will see you all next time.